Isaac Brown is one of the most explosive and dynamic playmakers in college football. With a big season this year, he can solidify himself as a top 50 pick in the NFL draft.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Locked On family? Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The biggest stage in world soccer is here. Let there be goals on FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com right now to get started on today's episode. I'm going to talk about and break down the speed demon himself, Isaac Brown, running back out of Louisville. I'm going to explain the grade, give you some comps a little later on in the show. Also, before that, talk about the concerns regarding his NFL draft profile. But as we always do, we kick it off with the good things, the good news, the great things, the pros of what he does well that translates well to the NFL. Isaac Brown is a speed demon at the running back position. He's a gear shifter, a gear changer, and a home run hitter at 5'9", listed as 190 pounds. Guys, as a freshman, he carried the ball 165 times for 1,173 yards, averaged 7.1 yards per carry with 11 rushing touchdowns in 2024. Last year's season was cut short due to injuries, but still yet a very productive season. 101 carries, 884 yards rushing, 8.8 yards per carry with 7 rushing touchdowns. And again, he didn't play a full season. 8.8 yards per carry is absolutely insane. And I want to go into the game log and tell you guys just a little bit before I really get into my breakdown. Like, he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games over 100 yards rushing. I believe he played about 9 to 10 games. So 6 games of 100 plus yards rushing. Only 3 games. So he played 9 games. Only 3 games where he didn't rush for 100 yards. And one of them was a blowout win versus Bowling Green where he only had 1 carry the entire game. So you're talking about if he had a game against Bowling Green where he had 15, 16, even 20 carries, he eclipses 100 yards easy against that level of competition. When you look at Isaac Brown, he is an absolute playmaker. And like I said, he's a speed demon. Watching his tape, this guy is shifty, he is sudden, and he's elusive. So this is a guy that with the elusivity and the shiftiness, talking about being in a phone booth, in the alley, in close quarters, in tight quarters, he can make you miss. He is a cutter with sharp, sudden cuts, vertical and lateral. This is a guy that can make you miss, and he doesn't have to do a ton of dancing to make it happen. He's very decisive with his cuts. It's plant and go, plant and go. It's not plant, 2-step, 3-step, 4-step, go. Like he's very decisive with his movements. And this is a guy that can cut without losing speed. So he can cut across the grain or cut across the defense or across the defensive players' leverage without having to waste any movement or motion. And again, losing momentum is not tied into that either. So watching him, I definitely appreciated his game. But then the suddenness, being a guy that runs, especially the wide zone stuff, he's a great fit for that type of offense in the NFL, whether it's out of pistol, out of shotgun, or out of under center, from under center. He's a guy that's a one-cut, sudden, plant and go slasher that when he plants, I'm going to tell you the problem he creates for linebackers, second-level defenders, right? Even those safeties that work down and they try to crowd the box. You can't be overreactionary with Isaac Brown in the backfield on wide zone runs. The reason why is because he has good vision and patience to string the play out east and west, make you overcommit, see the cutback lane, plant the foot, and get there. I always talk about with running backs, eyes and feet must be paired together because your feet can't go where your eyes don't show you. But you also have to have the athleticism to where when your feet and your eyes are in sync, your body has to have the acceleration, the burst, the juice to get to the lane or the gap and make it a positive play. So watching Isaac Brown, you see all of that. You see, again, the shiftiness, the suddenness, the elusiveness as a runner. There is pass catching upside. I'm going to tell you why I say that. There's pass catching upside for a Louisville star running back because as a freshman in 2024, this young man caught the ball, I believe, 30 times for 152 yards and a touchdown. Last year, only 13 receptions for 48 yards. No touchdowns last season. So when you talk about with his speed, his suddenness, shiftiness, elusiveness, jitterbugness, whatever you want to classify it or use to describe it, what's big about that is having him in the passing game. You're talking about a guy running flat routes, running screens, the Texas angle route out of the backfield. But even let's go from a conceptual standpoint, offensive play calling wise, mesh rail. For those who know what that is, you got receivers from opposite ends or opposite sides of the offensive formation running crossing routes. It's a man beater that is designed, and it is good against zone too. It's designed as eye candy, and if it's against man, to run defenders into traffic. That's one of these receivers pop and breaks open. And now the quarterback has an easy pitch and catch, and the guy has the ability to get upfield and get yards after the catch. Well, you run mesh with the wheel route or the rail route out of the backfield with the Isaac Brown. I truly believe he's at worst a 4.4 athlete. Could he be sub 4.4s into the high 4.3s? Low 4.4s, high 4.3s? Yes, I think he could be that type of. I believe he is that type. I'm not gonna say could be. I'm definitively telling you, I believe that that's the type of athlete that Isaac Brown is for Louisville. This is a young man that already committed. He's going back to Louisville. He didn't go in the portal. You see that loyalty. He trusts what they're doing there, and I think he's going to be in for a major season. I can see it. If he stays healthy, he could be a 1,500 yard player from the line of scrimmage if they really lean into him. There is no Chris Bell. Chris Bell's with the Miami Dolphins rehabbing from that torn ACL. So you're going to feed this young man the rock and everything. But again, as a pass catcher, there's upside that hasn't fully been unlocked because you think about his skill set, a guy motioning out, right? You have a veteran quarterback who knows I have a guy that could be an offensive weapon in the backfield. Cool. We come out in 11 or 10 personnel. I motion him out into the slot, or I motion him out as an inside wide receiver of a trips or even a quad set with 4 wide receivers on that side of the formation. And I get him matched up against a linebacker, or the defense is in man and they say, oh, okay. Once they see him motion out, they transition or they flip and make the pre-snap decision to go into a zone defense. And that lets your quarterback find the holes and the voids in the zone and be able to pick them apart and work their way downfield and things of that nature. Isaac Brown brings a lot of pros, a lot of pros. And again, I call him a speed demon. This is an explosive home run threat, guys. I talked about it. High 4.3s, low 4.4s. He's a guy that gets up to speed quickly, right? Where you look at some of the other guys we've talked about, even with Ahmad Hardy. I think he has good burst, and I think he has good top-end speed, right? But I think this guy has a next level of speed, top-end speed, and a next level in terms of burst and acceleration early in the run and through the line of scrimmage. He's a guy you have to, you got to close the door on him. You got to make him claustrophobic. Press the button on you get you're in a hotel and you get into the elevator and you're like, man, I don't want nobody. You're just in that mood. I don't want nobody getting on here with me. And you're just tapping the button. Come on, close the door. Because you know there's some people on the way. I'm not saying it's a good thing. It's a nice thing. I'm just saying we all have done it. That's what the defense has to do to Isaac Brown. Press the button, close the door, right? Close the elevator door, and then press the button again to stop it, right? So you get them closed in and then trapped into the elevator. Then you either use the key or press the button or whatever to shut it down. In terms of you box him in and then you give him no way out. That's what you have to do, because if he gets the chance to switch gears, once he hits the line of scrimmage, it could be a house call instantly. So speed demon, explosive home run threat. This young man brings it all in terms of just positional flexibility, usage versatility. I love what Isaac Brown brings to the game. But guys, as always, man, we can't just talk about the good things. We got to talk about the bad things too. What are some of the concerns? And I can tell you right now, it's going to be, I'm going to sound like Keith, it's going to be tied to his frame and injury concerns. That and more coming up next. The biggest stage in world soccer is here, and every match feels like it has the potential for a memorable moment. One goal can completely change the energy of a game, shift momentum, and alter the outcome in an instant. That's what makes tournament soccer so exciting, from the opening whistle to the final kick. And now FanDuel is giving fans another reason to stay locked into every match, with every goal pays. Bet on a match and get bonus bets every goal scored in that match. More goals means more bonus bets. All you have to do is turn on your token. Not only can you bet on the World Cup, but guys, you can also bet on the NFL draft and who will be the number one overall pick before the season. And I'm willing to take that bet of 2,700 plus 2,700 for Darian Mensah out of Miami. From the opening whistle to the final kick, let there be goals on FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com today to get started. Again, let there be goals on FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com today, guys, if you want to get started. Breaking down the concerns for Louisville explosive, dynamic, home run hitting running back Isaac Brown. And as I told you guys, it's going to really start off with size. Size for me, the size and frame of this young man, 5'9", 190, right? And you probably say, well, DP, it's not bad. No, it's not bad. But this is also a running back coming off of a season where he battled some injuries, right? So for Isaac Brown, what did he deal with last year? He had a lower hamstring injury. I believe he suffered versus Virginia Tech. He ended up missing multiple weeks. I don't think he played. He played, that game was like November 1st. He didn't play again until December 23rd, which was the bowl game, the Boca Raton Bowl and everything. So he returned for the bowl game, but he missed multiple weeks after the Virginia Tech game. He ended up having a big game in that game too. He had 100 yards rushing against Virginia Tech. So they lucked out with him getting hurt and all that type of stuff. But that's the key to me, is like the injuries tied into, like, sophomore injuries, and then the size. Is he a traditional RB1, right? And I think when you look, he talked about it, like we're seeing the influx of smaller or more slender bodied running backs, right? And you talking about the Jahmyr Gibbs. Keith mentioned Jeremiah Love. I saw Jeremiah Love in person. He's not that slender. He may not have the biggest legs, but he's like 215 pounds because he's like 6 foot, like 6 foot 215. He was quite broad up top, so he's definitely fine. But I get the point, right? Like, it's not the days of just drafting the 225 pound, 230 pound running back. Because I mean, look at it, right? Like the Braylon Allens of the world and some of these other bigger backs that have come through, Ollie Gordon last year. There's a lot of guys that you might have the size and the build and all that, but you're not explosive enough, or you don't have the talent to be an impact player or game changer. You might just be a role-specific player. And if so, there's nothing wrong with that either. But it's just a fact of what it is, right? So looking at it overall, for me, I think with Isaac Brown, like the concerns with the size and frame, you have to stay healthy, number one. And do you have that ability to be a true RB1 in the NFL? We'll see. I think that there's a chance for him to do that. I think there's a chance for him to do that. And I actually have a comp that compares to him very well. And I'm gonna get those pulled up for next segment and everything to close out the show. But that's the first thing that one of those, some of those early things was the size to be an RB1 in the NFL, right? Dealing with the rigors and the wear and tear and the physicality and everything of an NFL running back, and the starting NFL running back. It's not just, and let me expand that. It's not just being an RB1, because you could be an RB1A or 1B in like a 1-2 punch committee situation, right? And that's perfectly fine. Can you be the bell cow where you have 300 touches in a season, right? Like, can you be that? And I think that is what's going to be that's the dichotomy of that situation of, man, what is he in terms of role wise? Okay, pass pro with being 190, and this is, again, I'm watching guys who are bigger than him, and struggle going into the NFL and learning how to be a pass protector. And I think that's going to be something that's going to be a coaching point and everything. And again, just the size, man, because it's different when you're able to chip block or you step up into the A gap and you're able to close that space and not let a guy get full free run to run through your face mask, right? But let's say you're in shotgun, you're flanking the quarterback, ball is snapped, they send a delayed blitz, you do see it, you step up. Now that 240-pound running linebacker is running full speed ahead to run through you to get to your quarterback or put pressure or block you into the quarterback and create a hurry throw, a pressure throw, a fumble, or to make the sack. Either way, he's trying to create a negative play on offense. And if you can't step up and meet him with the physicality, that is going to be a big thing. So I think overall, the overarching situation for Isaac Brown is going to him on whether or not, number one, he can stay healthy this year because he had the sophomore injury. Can you stay healthy this year? Hamstrings, as we saw, right? Was it Jordan Tyson? That was a big talking point. He still went top 8. You know what I mean, in the NFL draft, but they've been playing, and again, he did a little too much with not, coming out of that game against Texas Tech, even though he's the reason they won that game, you know what I mean, and late in the fourth quarter and everything. But the point is, I'm watching him, put his body on the line. And that's why now they had him on like a pitch count through rookie mini camps and OTAs and mini camp and everything. So we'll see. I expect him probably to be full go, once the Saints get in the training camp in about a couple weeks at the end of the month. So he should be ready to go and everything once the pass get popping and whatnot. And that's gonna be good. But still, hamstring injuries can linger. So for Isaac Brown, you don't want the hamstring injury to linger at all. Like you hope that it's all like he's good, everything's fine, and he can move forward. And if so, you feel great about it. But again, not just that, it's the pass pro, being able to step up, meet guys in the lane, deliver a blow. Like any smaller running back, there's a couple running backs in the NFL. We're working on this big 1,000 project, NFL project for Bleacher Report and everything this summer, which has been a grind. Watching a lot of NFL tape, like a lot of it. And I can tell you right now, like Jalen Warren, Kyron, I don't know why I'm blanking on his name for the Rams, but I'm not gonna sit there and let that happen. Kyron Williams, I'm gonna call him Kyron Hudson for some reason. Kyron Williams, Jalen Warren, those are two undersized backs that were good in pass pro, right? Kyron Williams he's arguably one of the best, if not the best, pass protecting running back in the NFL. This young man is elite at it, right? So those are guys that if I have an undersized running back, I'm telling, hey, watch how they approach it. Watch where their hands are, where their feet are placed. Hey, maybe their legs are bigger than you. Maybe you need to get in the weight room, hit the squat machine, hack squats, whatever it takes, whatever it may take, so that you can really take that next step in pass pro and not have to. Because the one thing I hate to see running backs do is try to step up and absorb, step up and deliver. All right, stand and deliver. That's my thing. Stand and deliver. If you do that and you do it well, you're going to help your quarterback and help your offense out just overall, guys. But we talked about the concerns, the pass pro, size and frame to be an RB1, and then sophomore injuries, that hamstring leg injury that really kind of hampered him down the stretch for about a full month and a half. From November 1st till he couldn't play, until he returned to play December 23rd in the bowl game for Isaac Brown. But coming up next, I'm going to explain the grade. I'm going to tell you what grade I have for him and then give you some potential NFL comps that would fit his size, speed, profile all together. That and more coming up next. For making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout for being our everydayers. Guys, Isaac Brown, the grade I have for him, I have him as a late second round grade. Again, 5'9", 190 pounds and everything. I have a late second round, a mid to late second round grade on the speed demon, the explosive home run threat running back out of Louisville. I think he has good vision. He's patient, sudden, elusive, explosive, great acceleration and burst, but he also has speed control as a running back and everything. So I have him as I truly believe more so a mid second round pick, because I do think once we get more and more into this class, Next on Monday, guys, we're going to be talking about Linda Moore. We get into Ellis Robinson. We got is it Kelly Jones from Mississippi State, Bryce Pollock from Texas Tech. I'm going to talk to y'all about. There's a lot of corners in this class, man. Then we got the edge rushers, the D tackles. Got to get into some of these offensive linemen too, right? Yeah, July is going to be full of summer scouting, guys. I'm just telling you right now. Wish we probably should have started a little bit earlier at the end of May, to be completely honest. But the point is that with the strength of this class, you're still a running back. And you're a running back that is not, when you look at when you look at Ahmad Hardy, what, 5'10", 5'9", 210, 215, right? Keywan Lacey, let's at 5'10", 5'11", 210. Don't believe the heights and weights for those guys are remotely close to what they were listed as. I think one's heavier and shorter. I think the other one might be a little, about 5'11", 5'10", but he's not 210. So, but nonetheless, like guys who have bigger bodies than him, bigger frames and everything. And you know, there are some scouts. I know some of y'all have called Keith out before for him being an SEC homer, which is true. I won't disagree with that. My boy is an SEC homer, but he coached in the SEC. I get it. But I think, you know, there are scouts and there are GMs in the league that do operate with that mindset, right? Would Jahmyr Gibbs have been viewed as highly as he was if he did not go to Bama and do the exact same thing he did at Georgia Tech at Bama, be an elite athlete, an elite running back, an elite pass catcher out of the backfield at the running back position? So 100%, he did those things. But if he didn't do it at Bama in the SEC, would people have given them the credit where it was due? Maybe not. You know, maybe not at all. But I think overall, like, it's just, again, I think the size and the lack of frame and thickness to his frame and muscle mass on his frame. It's not like he's a super slender. For those watching on YouTube, you can see his upper body here. He's not a super slender, just like skinny guy. But again, the running back position in the NFL is one of the most physically demanding positions in sports. I'm just telling you, there's no other sport where your body is going to take the punishment and the grind that it takes. You know, there's no other sport, period, outside of football, that the punishment on the body is what it is. And I want to take the time real quick and take a quick break as we talked about that. Prayers up for CJ2K, Chris Johnson, being diagnosed with ALS. It hurt my heart to see that interview, to see that announcement, to see what it's done to him and his body. So just prayers, praying for him, one of my favorite running backs of all time. And yeah, man, you just hate to see that. And there's links to football and all that type of stuff. What people say, it's higher risk. I think it was Jeff Pearlman did a video saying it's higher risk, or 4 times higher risk for football players that have played a lot of football longer in their life to develop and be diagnosed with ALS. So I'm praying not just for Chris Johnson, but for other football players in general, that this is not something that becomes a long-lasting trend. I want these young men who turn into men to be to have long-lasting life, you know, just at the end of the day. But I wanted to highlight that point. Sorry if I brought the tone of the other show down, but that just kind of talking about the size and the wear and tear and the physicality just brought that to mind. And I was going to do it at the end of the show, but I wanted to do it right here. But again, when we talk about Isaac Brown, middle of second round to late second round, still top 100 pick easy. I think he could be a top 50 pick. And we got to see, right? We got to see how many quarterbacks we get, right? Brendan Sorsby can't play college football, can't play in the NFL this year, but he will be in the 2027 NFL draft. And I promise, I just want to prepare you guys. Yes, people in the NFL, they stood 10 toes down right now. What does it matter if you draft them next year? So, like, yeah, I don't care. Like, that they didn't draft him in the supplemental draft this year. If he's a top 100 pick next year, then what? And he's getting a chance to compete for a starting job. He's getting a chance to compete behind an established veteran or an older veteran, whatever the case may be. And he's going to play in preseason and all of that. So, yeah, with Brendan Sorsby, all these quarterbacks, all these receivers, these edge rushers, these D tackles we haven't even gotten into, offensive linemen, and of course, the cornerbacks and safeties. yeah, man, I could see him being a top 50 pick still, but I could see him being pushed down the board simply because of positional value, as we know, is a big thing in the NFL. And unless you are that elite guy like a Jeremiah Love, remember he went third overall. He went top four, bro. So Jeremiah Love went top 4 in the NFL, and Bijan and Jameer went top 15. Okay, Ashton Jensen went what? He was the 8th overall pick. He went top 10 a year ago in 2025. So yeah, like unless you're in that elk, I don't see Isaac Brown or like just being propped up. That's why I say I don't believe any of these running backs are top 10 picks. I don't think any of them will get to that point because there's flaws in all of their game that could hamstring them, or wrong choice of words, hinder them from being a top 10 pick. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think he could be a top 50 pick for sure, but I think he's at worst top 100, early third round, and someone gets a steal in the third round, an explosive playmaker. My comp for him, I think for me, I thought about, Devon Achane. I thought about Devon Achane for the Miami Dolphins, another guy who people try to peg him as only and just put that connotation that Devon Achane was a track guy playing running back or whatever. And I was no, he's a football player who runs track. He came in at 5'8 3/4, 188 pounds, ran 4.32, right? So there's some parallels there, of course. Even another name, a throwback name. When we talk about highlight tapes in college football, Noel Devine, 5'8", 179, 4.34 in the 40, guys. Like there's some good comps there, size-wise and game-wise, that I think fits what Isaac Brown brings to the table. And I think this is a plus-level starter, a guy that you can not so much hit your wagon to for the entire team, but he can be an offensive weapon of sorts. And especially if you have a more power back, like an aging power back or whatever the case may be, like if Dallas didn't have Jaden Blue and Phil Maffa, they brought back Javonte Williams. They drafted Isaac Brown in the 3rd round next year or 2nd round. You're looking at him and that Kevontae Turpin slot roll on some sets, and you get him on some jet sweeps, some jet pop passes, some like jet orbit motion into screens and flat throws, and just let him be a playmaker. This is a guy that can run the ball very well, runs hard for his frame, explosive, dynamic, and he's just a perimeter space weapon and just offensive threat that's going to absolutely help an NFL offense once he gets to the league. But guys, that's the show. Breaking down the speed demon, explosive running back, Isaac Brown out of Louisville. I explained the grade, gave you some comps and everything. Talked about the concerns with his profile, his size, pass pro, all that good stuff. And then, of course, talking about the pros, the shiftiness, the suddenness, the elusiveness, and, of course, the top end speed and acceleration. As always, guys, go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube or wherever you get podcast to get the latest episode. Wherever you listen to podcasts, get the latest episode as soon as it is available. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, comment, hit the like button, and share it with a friend. If you're listening on audio, leave us a 5-star rated commented review, and just it's free to support this podcast and support your boys DP and Keith. On tomorrow's show, Keith is under the weather, so that's why he's not here. He's under the weather. Press up for my boy. He's got a little summer cold. We're going to get him back to full health, guys. We're going to get back to full health. But I'm going to break down another running back on tomorrow's show to close out the week, and that's Nate Frazier, running back out of Georgia. And we're going to talk about his game and what I want to see from him in 2026. That on tomorrow's show. So come join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.